Dr. Amanda Hayes stood before the quantum display, her reflection ghosting across streams of probability data flowing through the holographic interface. 15 years of preparation had led to this moment. The Luma Defense Complex, buried 2 kilometers beneath the moon's surface, hummed with anticipation as the final simulation completed its run. Dr. Hayes, Lieutenant Robert Chen, called from his station, his voice tight with controlled excitement. All quantum arrays are reporting green. We're seeing a 99.997% probability of success across all scenarios. Amanda nodded, her gray eyes fixed on the central display, where a real-time feed showed the Coalition's desperate last stand against the Void Collective. The quantum arrays had given humanity an unprecedented advantage: the ability to observe events light years away with perfect clarity. They had watched, hidden, and preparing, as the cybernetic horrors had consumed world after world. "Show me the Centauri front," she commanded. The display shifted, revealing a scene of devastation. Coalition ships, a mix of elegant designs from a dozen different species, fought with desperate courage against the geometric nightmare of void vessels. Their energy weapons splashed harmlessly against adaptive shields, while the Void's assimilation beams cut through their defenses like paper. Colonel Marcus Davidson entered the command center, his boots silent on the polished floor. "The Earth Defense Force is in position, Doctor. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. They're ready. General Harrison is requesting final confirmation." Amanda pulled up the classified files she'd spent her career compiling. Humanity had known about both the Coalition and the Void Collective for over 200 years. Earth's first quantum array, built in secret on Mars in 2218, had shown them what was coming. Instead of revealing themselves to the galactic community, they had chosen a different path. While other species developed energy weapons and shield technology, humanity had delved deep into the fundamental forces of reality. They had mastered gravity manipulation, learned to bend space itself, and developed weapons that turned mathematics into devastation. Every technological advancement, every scientific breakthrough, had been guided by a single purpose: to be ready for this day. "Signal the observation post on Proxima B," Amanda ordered. "Tell them to prepare for Phase 1. The hidden facility, maintaining humanity's closest watch on the conflict, would coordinate the initial contact." She thought about the generations of humans who had lived and died preparing for this moment. Children who grew up training on simulators modeled on void tactics. Scientists who dedicated their lives to developing weapons specifically designed to counter the collective's adaptability. An entire civilization shaped by the knowledge of what was coming. "Coalition forces are reporting critical failures along Defense Line 7, Robert announced, his hands dancing across his console. "Refugee ships are being picked off. At current rates, they'll lose their entire civilian evacuation corridor in less than 40 minutes. Amanda straightened her back, feeling the weight of centuries of preparation. "Lieutenant Chen, initiate the gravity fold sequences. Colonel Davidson, please inform General Harrison that he has authorization to proceed." She paused, then added, "And send the message to the Coalition." Her fingers moved across the quantum interface, composing the words that would change the galaxy forever. "Hold the line. We are coming." Across the solar system, humanity's fleet began to move. Ships that appeared primitive to outside observers, powered by what seemed to be simple nuclear fusion drives, slipped into carefully calculated positions. Their hulls, marked with the Earth Defense Force insignia, concealed technologies that violated what the Coalition considered possible. "Gravity fold projectors are at full power," Robert reported. "First wave is ready for transition." Amanda watched as the quantum probability streams aligned perfectly with their simulations. 200 years of preparation, of waiting and watching, had led to this precise moment. The Void Collective had never encountered a species that had developed along humanity's unique technological path. They had no defenses against what was coming. "Send the first wave," she ordered. The quantum display erupted with new data as 300 human ships translated into real space, near the Coalition's failing defensive line. To the watching aliens, they would appear outdated, almost primitive. Amanda allowed herself a small smile, knowing what was about to unfold. The trap that humanity had spent centuries preparing was finally ready to snap shut. "May God have mercy on their souls," Colonel Davidson whispered. "Because our weapons certainly won't." Amanda kept her eyes fixed on the display, watching as history began to unfold. Begin the countdown to Phase 2. Everything changes today. Commander Jack Reynolds stood on the bridge of the EDF Hyperion, feeling the subtle vibrations as the gravity fold generators spooled up to full power. The massive view screen showed the quantum tunnel forming ahead, a testament to humanity's mastery over space itself. "Transition in 30 seconds, First Officer Lisa Martinez announced, her fingers dancing across the crystalline control interface. "All ships in formation. Quantum synchronization at optimal levels." Jack's mind wandered briefly to the centuries of preparation that had led to this moment. His own great-grandmother had commanded one of Earth's first gravity manipulation testbeds. Now, 3 generations later, he would lead humanity's first strike against the Void Collective. "Coalition forces detected," Tactical Officer James Wong reported. "Their sensors are attempting to analyze our ships. As predicted, they're classifying us as a pre-FTL civilization that just got lucky with their first jump drive." The bridge crew shared knowing looks. Humanity's ships were masterpieces of deception. Their outer hulls were deliberately constructed to appear primitive, hiding the reality-bending technologies within. Even their energy signatures were carefully crafted to seem like simple fusion drives rather than the quantum gravity cores that actually powered them. "Void vessels are altering course to intercept," James continued. "They're deploying standard assimilation protocols. Looks like they think we're easy prey." Transition complete in 3, 2, 1. Reality twisted, and the EDF Hyperion led humanity's first wave into the battle that would reshape the galaxy. Through the view screen, Jack could see the desperate scene they'd studied in countless simulations. Coalition ships, beautiful but overwhelmed, fought a losing battle against the geometric horror of void vessels. "Coalition Command is hailing us," Communications Officer Sarah Parker announced. "They're warning us to retreat. They're saying their weapons are useless against void shields." Jack allowed himself a small smile. "Send them the prepared response. Text only." Sarah nodded, transmitting the message they'd crafted centuries ago. "Thank you for your concern. Please maintain your distance from designated engagement zones." "Sir," James called out. "First wave of void ships approaching. Their assimilation beams are powering up." "Initialize primary weapon systems," Jack ordered. "Remember your training. Everything we've prepared for begins now." The bridge hummed as systems that defied conventional physics came online. Humanity had never developed energy weapons or traditional shields, knowing they would be useless against the void. Instead, they had mastered gravity itself, learning to bend and break the fundamental forces of reality. "Target lock confirmed," James reported. "Singularity drivers charge. Gravitational resonance fields synchronized across all ships." Jack watched as the void vessels moved into perfect position, exactly as their simulations had predicted. The alien machines were predictable in their arrogance, always following the same tactical patterns that had worked against less prepared species. "All ships, execute Battle Plan Alpha," Jack commanded. "Show them why Earth waited." The EDF Hyperion's weapons were unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Instead of energy beams or plasma torpedoes, they fired gravitational distortions that twisted space itself. The first volley struck the leading void vessel, and for a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then reality buckled. The void ship's adaptive shields, designed to handle energy and matter, were useless against weapons that manipulated gravity itself. The vessel imploded, crushed by forces it had never evolved to resist. "Coalition forces are..." Sarah paused, listening to the incoming transmissions. "Sir, they're in shock. Their translators are having trouble processing their reactions." Multiple void vessels altering course, James reported. They're attempting to analyze our weapons. Their adaptive systems are trying to compensate. Jack nodded grimly. Let them try. Initiate secondary attack pattern. Show them what humanity has been building while we watch them ravage the galaxy. The battle unfolded exactly as their simulations had predicted. Each human ship moved with precise coordination, their gravity weapons tearing through the void's defenses like they didn't exist. Centuries of preparation and development had created an arsenal specifically designed to counter every void adaptation. Sir, Lisa called out, Phase 2 coordinates are locked in. The fleet is ready to demonstrate our full capabilities. Jack took a deep breath, knowing that what came next would change the galaxy's understanding of warfare forever. Send the signal to Earth Command. Tell them Commander Reynolds reports that Operation Righteous Dawn is proceeding exactly as planned. Lieutenant Emma Martinez watched with calculated precision as the EDF Thermopylae formation tightened into what appeared to be a tactical disaster. Around her, the bridge crew worked with practiced calm, each member knowing their role in the elaborate deception. Coalition Command is sending urgent warnings, Communications Officer Derek Foster reported, suppressing a smile. They're practically begging us to break formation. Their tactical advisors are predicting total annihilation if we maintain this course. Emma's fingers danced across her quantum interface, adjusting the gravitational resonance matrices by microseconds. The mathematics of their trap had to be perfect, each ship positioned exactly where the equations demanded. 1 degree off, and the devastating forces they were about to unleash could tear their own fleet apart. Void Fleet responding exactly as predicted, Sensor Officer Jennifer Reynolds announced. They're concentrating their forces, moving to exploit our apparent vulnerability. Adaptive analysis systems are fully focused on our hull configurations. Through the main viewport, Emma could see the void ships approaching. Dark, geometric shapes that seemed to devour the starlight around them. Their formation was perfect, exactly as hundreds of thousands of simulations had shown. The collective's tactical algorithms were consistent, always choosing the most efficient path to victory. All ships report ready. Captain Michael Anderson's voice was steady. Lieutenant Martinez, begin the convergence sequence. Emma's hands moved in practiced patterns, initiating the most complex gravitational manipulation humanity had ever attempted. Resonance fields powering up. Quantum synchronization at 98% and climbing. The bridge crew watched as their ships drew even closer together, presenting what seemed to be an irresistible target. Coalition observers were practically screaming warnings now, their sensors showing the massive energy buildup they couldn't properly interpret. Void vessels launching assimilation pods, Jennifer reported. They think we're defenseless. Main fleet closing to optimal range in 15 seconds. Emma felt a fierce pride as she watched the trap unfold. While other species had focused on bigger guns and stronger shields, humanity had learned to weaponize mathematics itself. Each ship in their formation was a precisely positioned component in an equation that would rewrite local spacetime. Quantum synchronization at 100%, she announced. Gravitational resonance fields at maximum power, ready to initiate on your command, Captain. Michael Anderson stood from his command chair, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of preparation. Lieutenant Martinez, show them why we spent 200 years learning to dance with gravity itself. Emma's fingers executed the final command sequence, initiating gravitational resonance cascade in 3, 2, 1. Reality screamed. The space between the human ships suddenly twisted, mathematical principles made manifest in devastating force. The carefully positioned vessels created a gravitational lens, focusing and amplifying the power of their combined gravity drives to create a weapon unlike anything the galaxy had seen. The nearest void ships simply ceased to exist, crushed into quantum singularities by forces they had no defense against. Their adaptive shields, designed to counter energy and matter, were useless against weapons that bent space itself. Coalition sensors are going blind, Jennifer reported through the chaos. The gravitational distortions are overwhelming their detection systems. They can't process what they're seeing. Emma watched her displays as the carefully orchestrated destruction unfolded. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for centuries were being erased by humanity's understanding of fundamental forces. The Void Collective's supposedly invincible adaptive technology could no more resist these attacks than a soap bubble could stop a supernova. Secondary resonance wave forming, she reported, adjusting the matrices again. Preparing to initiate Phase 2 of the attack pattern. Through the quantum communications network, Emma could sense the other ships in their formation moving in perfect synchronization. Each vessel's gravity drive contributed to the greater equation, their combined power turning local spacetime into a weapon of unprecedented destruction. Multiple void vessels attempting emergency translation. Jennifer called out. Their adaptive systems are. They're trying to analyze the attack pattern, but the mathematics are beyond their comprehension. Captain Anderson's voice cut through the controlled chaos of the bridge. Send word to Earth Command. Tell them Lieutenant Martinez's gravitational resonance cascade is performing beyond projected specifications. The mathematics are dancing exactly as planned. Emma allowed herself a small smile as she prepared the next sequence. The galaxy was about to learn why humanity had spent centuries mastering the art of impossible things. Major David Cooper felt the quantum-enhanced armor adjust to his movements as he led Strike Team Delta through the ruptured hull of the disabled void vessel. Their footsteps, which should have echoed through the metallic corridors, were completely silent thanks to localized gravity manipulation fields. Perimeter sensors detect multiple void units converging on our position. Lieutenant Sarah Foster's voice came through the quantum comm. Their adaptive systems are still trying to understand how we breached their shields. David allowed himself a grim smile behind his visor. The Void Collective had never encountered anything like humanity's orting tactics. Their defenses were designed to stop energy weapons and conventional matter, not soldiers whose armor could selectively phase through solid objects. Team 2 in position. Sergeant Mark Thompson reported. Quantum locks engage. Ready to begin breach sequence on your mark. Through his enhanced vision, David could see the complex mathematical patterns that made up the void ship's internal structure. Centuries of observation had taught humanity how to read these patterns, how to exploit the fundamental weaknesses in the collective's technological architecture. All teams, weapons check, David commanded, hefting his own singularity rifle. The weapon looked deceptively simple, like an old-fashioned projectile gun. The Void would learn too late that each bullet contained a microscopic gravity drive, capable of creating localized black holes on impact. Major, Sarah's voice carried a note of urgency. Internal sensors show the Void are adapting their internal defenses. They're trying to analyze our armor's phase variance. Let them try, David responded, checking his quantum readouts. Execute breach protocol Echo 7. Show them why Earth spent 200 years perfecting the art of impossible things. Strike Team Delta moved as one, their armor shifting through quantum states that the Void sensors couldn't track. They phased through walls, emerged from floors, attacked from angles that shouldn't have existed in normal space. The first Void units they encountered didn't even have time to initiate their assimilation protocols. David's singularity rifle fired with a whisper, each round creating a pinpoint gravitational collapse that erased matter from existence. The collective's adaptive shields were useless against weapons that attacked space itself. Central core located, Mark reported, his team moving through another quantum phase shift. Their systems are in chaos. They've never seen anything like our weapons. David watched through his enhanced display as the Void units try to adapt. Their cyber-organic forms shifted and changed, attempting to counter threats they couldn't comprehend. But humanity had spent generations preparing for this moment, developing technologies that operated outside the collective's understanding of possible. All teams, converge on the core, David ordered. Initiate final breach sequence. Remember your training. We've rehearsed this 10,000 times. The strike teams moved in perfect coordination, their armor allowing them to ignore conventional physics. They passed through void defenses like ghosts, their weapons bringing mathematical destruction to an enemy that had never imagined such attacks possible. "Major," Sarah called out, detecting massive energy buildup. "They're trying to initiate their self-destruct sequence." "Perfect," David responded, reaching the central core chamber. "Exactly as simulated. Deploy quantum anchors." Small devices materialized from quantum storage, settling into precisely calculated positions around the core. The Void's attempt at self-destruction would play right into humanity's hands. "Quantum anchors online," Mark confirmed. "Field stabilization at optimal levels. Ready to begin core extraction on your command." David stepped forward, his armor's sensors interfacing with the alien technology. The core pulsed with energy, its patterns shifting as it tried to analyze and counter the impossible humans who had breached its defenses. "Strike Team Delta," David's voice carried the weight of centuries of preparation. "Execute final phase. Show them what happens when humanity decides to rewrite the rules of reality itself." The quantum anchors activated, creating a field that trapped the core in a bubble of altered spacetime. The Void's self-destruct sequence, designed to erase all trace of their technology, instead fed power into humanity's devices. "Core extraction complete," Sarah reported with satisfaction. "All teams report successful breaches across the target fleet. The Void never saw us coming." David watched as his team secured their prize, knowing that each captured core would provide humanity with more data, more understanding of their enemy. They had spent centuries preparing for this war, developing weapons and tactics that turned impossible theory into devastating reality. "Send word to command," he ordered. "Tell them Major Cooper reports that Operation Ghostwalker is proceeding exactly as the simulations predicted. The impossible has become inevitable." Captain Michelle Thompson stood before the Coalition Leadership Council, her dress uniform bearing the subtle quantum-enhanced fibers that were just one example of humanity's hidden advancements. The alien leaders, a diverse gathering of species who had fought the Void Collective for generations, stared at her with a mixture of awe and fear. "You knew," the Centaurian ambassador's translator conveyed both accusation and disbelief. "Your species knew about the Void threat for centuries, and you chose to remain hidden." Michelle nodded, activating the quantum display she had brought. Above the council chamber, a holographic timeline materialized, showing Earth's first detection of the Void Collective in 2218. "The Mars array detected them during our first experiments with quantum observation technology," she explained. "We watched as they began their expansion, studied their tactics, and made a choice that would shape human civilization for generations to come." The hologram shifted, showing the construction of the Luna Defense Complex, the development of gravity manipulation technology, the careful transformation of every aspect of human society toward a single purpose. "While your civilizations developed along expected technological paths," Michelle continued, "Earth chose a different direction. We knew conventional energy weapons and shields would be useless against the Void's adaptive capabilities. So we delved deeper, learning to manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself." But the suffering, the Proximan representative's crystalline form shimmered with emotion. "You watched as the collective consumed world after world. Why didn't you help sooner?" Michelle's expression remained composed, but her voice carried the weight of centuries of preparation. "Because we needed to be certain. The simulations showed that revealing ourselves too early would have led to the Void adapting to our technologies. We had to wait until we could strike decisively." The quantum display showed training facilities where human children learned to operate gravity drives, universities where scientists dedicated their lives to developing weapons that could counter the Void's adaptability, entire cities built underground to hide humanity's true capabilities. "Every human born in the last 2 centuries grew up knowing what was coming," she explained. "Our children played with quantum toys, learning to think in ways the Void couldn't predict. Our scientists pushed the boundaries of possible, developing technologies that operated outside the collective's understanding of reality." The Regelian elder leaned forward, its sensory appendages focused on the display. Your ships, your weapons, they're not primitive at all, are they? Michelle allowed herself a small smile. What you see as simple fusion drives are actually quantum gravity cores. Our projectile weapons create microscopic singularities. Even our communication systems operate on principles that the Void's adaptive algorithms can't comprehend. The hologram showed the current battle statistics. Hundreds of Void ships, once thought invincible, reduced to quantum dust by humanity's impossible weapons. Coalition analysts had initially dismissed the human fleet as hopelessly outmatched, unable to understand that every aspect of their primitive appearance was carefully crafted deception. Humanity didn't hide out of fear, Michelle stated firmly. We hid because we were preparing. Every technological breakthrough, every scientific advancement, every cultural development, all of it was guided by a single purpose. We became what we needed to be to end the Void threat permanently. The council chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity hadn't just developed weapons to fight the Void. They had transformed their entire civilization into a weapon shaped by centuries of singular purpose. And now, the Centaurian ambassador asked quietly, "What happens after this war ends?" Michelle's response was measured, carrying both reassurance and mourning. Earth extends its hand in friendship to the Coalition. We offer to share defensive technologies to help rebuild what was lost. But understand this, humanity will maintain its capabilities. We shaped ourselves into guardians, and we will not abandon that role. The quantum display showed one final image. Earth's solar system, transformed over centuries into humanity's fortress and laboratory. Hidden beneath the surface of every planet and moon were facilities dedicated to understanding and countering threats that the galaxy hadn't even discovered yet. We are not conquerors, Michelle concluded, but we are no longer hidden. The ghosts of tomorrow had stepped into the light, and the galaxy will never be the same. The Coalition Leadership Council sat in stunned silence, finally understanding that humanity's emergence wasn't just the arrival of a new species. It was the revelation of a civilization that had spent centuries becoming something unprecedented in galactic history. Admiral James Walker stood at the command center of the EDF Sovereign, his eyes fixed on the quantum tactical display, showing 50 human ships moving into the most complex formation ever attempted. Each vessel's position had been calculated to the microsecond, their combined gravity drives about to perform an operation that would redefine warfare. Quantum synchronization at 99%. Commander Rachel Davis reported from her station. All ships report ready for cascade initiation. The target was the Void Collective's largest fleet base, a massive structure that had served as their staging ground for countless assimilation campaigns. Coalition intelligence had never managed to breach its defenses. Until now. Final position lock confirmed. Lieutenant Kevin Chen announced. Gravitational resonance fields are aligned perfectly. The mathematics are singing. Sir. James nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. Every ship in this formation had rehearsed this attack pattern thousands of times. Their crews had trained since childhood for this precise operation, learning to dance with forces that most species considered impossible to control. Coalition observation posts are registering confusion. Communications Officer Emily Rodriguez reported. They're detecting energy buildups they can't classify. Several of their science vessels are requesting permission to move closer for better readings. Deny those requests, James ordered. Politely remind them of the exclusion zone parameters. What they're about to witness isn't meant for unprepared sensors. The quantum display showed the Void base's defenses powering up, their adaptive systems trying to analyze the human fleet's formation. They had no context for what was about to happen. No species had ever attempted to weaponize spacetime on this scale. All ships confirm gravitational calibration complete, Rachel announced. Ready to initiate primary sequence on your command. James took a deep breath, knowing that what came next would change the galaxy's understanding of possible forever. Begin the convergence. Let's show them what happens when humanity decides to break the sky. 50 ships moved as one, their gravity drives synchronizing to create a cascading wave of spatial distortion. The mathematics behind the attack had taken generations to perfect, each vessel's position contributing to an equation that would tear reality apart. Void Base is launching defensive squadrons, Kevin reported. Their adaptive fields are at maximum power. They still think this is a conventional assault. The space between the human ships began to twist, fundamental forces responding to humanity's carefully orchestrated manipulation. Energy readings spiked beyond measurable levels as the gravitational cascade began. Coalition sensors are going dark, Emily called out. The distortions are overwhelming their detection systems. They're requesting explanation for what they're seeing. James watched as the attack unfolded exactly as simulated. The combined power of 50 gravity drives, precisely aligned and synchronized, created a weapon that defied conventional physics. Cascade reaching critical threshold, Rachel announced, her voice steady despite the incredible forces building around them. Reality fracture initiating in 3, 2, 1. Space itself screamed. The gravitational wave struck the void base like a hammer of God, crushing matter and energy into a singularity that shouldn't have been possible. The collective's adaptive defenses, designed to counter any known weapon, were useless against an attack that rewrote the laws of physics locally. Base structure is, sir, it's just gone, Kevin reported in awe. Complete quantum dissolution. There's nothing left larger than atomic particles. Through the quantum network, James could feel the other ships maintaining perfect formation, their gravity drives working in harmony to contain the devastating forces they had unleashed. One mistake, one misaligned field, and they would join the void base in quantum oblivion. Coalition command is flooding all channels, Emily said. They're demanding to know what just happened. Their language processors are struggling to formulate the questions. James allowed himself a small smile as the gravitational cascade subsided, leaving nothing but empty space where the void's mightiest fortress had stood moments before. Send word to Earth Command, he ordered. Tell them Admiral Walker reports that Operation Skybreaker exceeded all projected parameters. The gravity cascade performed exactly as the simulations predicted. The quantum display showed coalition ships maintaining a respectful distance, their sensors still trying to understand what they had witnessed. They had just seen 50 primitive human vessels erase the most heavily defended installation in known space with forces that shouldn't have been possible. Begin Stage 2 deployment, James commanded. It's time to show the Void Collective that their understanding of reality is about to change dramatically. Dr. Rebecca Anderson stood in the Coalition Archive Chamber, surrounded by the most diverse gathering of alien historians and scientists ever assembled. The quantum display behind her showed Earth, but not as the gathered species expected to see it. Your assumptions about humanity's development were understandable, she began, manipulating the display to show Earth's gravity well. What you saw as a primitive world actually shaped us into something unique. Earth's gravity, 1.3 times stronger than the galactic average, forced us down paths that no other species considered viable. The display shifted, showing ancient human civilization struggling against their world's harsh conditions. The assembled aliens watched, fascinated as humanity's story unfolded. While other species developed energy manipulation early, focusing on powering their way through space, Rebecca continued, we had to master gravity first. Our world demanded it. Every technology we developed was born from the need to overcome Earth's unforgiving embrace. Professor Zixtal, a leading coalition physicist, raised a crystalline appendage. But your ships, they appeared to use simple fusion drives. We detected no advanced propulsion systems. Rebecca smiled, adjusting the display to show the true nature of humanity's technology. What you saw as fusion drives were actually quantum gravity cores. We learned to hide our true capability centuries ago, when we first detected the Void Collective through our early quantum arrays. The chamber filled with murmurs as she revealed humanity's first observation of the Void in 2218. The display showed how that single moment had transformed human civilization. redirecting every aspect of development toward a single purpose. Your civilizations developed along predictable paths, she explained, creating technologies that the Void could understand and adapt to. We chose differently. Every breakthrough, every innovation, was guided by the knowledge of what was coming. The display showed human children playing with quantum toys, scientists developing weapons that bent reality, entire cities built to hide humanity's true technological level. The aliens watched in stunned silence as they realized the full scope of humanity's preparation. Our gravity-based technology wasn't just about weapons, Rebecca continued. It shaped our evolution. Living under higher gravity, manipulating quantum fields from childhood. It changed us physically and mentally. We became something the Void couldn't predict or understand. Commander Ilara of the Coalition Defense Force leaned forward. Your entire civilization. You shaped it specifically to counter the Void. Rebecca nodded, bringing up images of the Luna Defense Complex and other hidden facilities throughout Earth's solar system. Every aspect of human society was carefully crafted. Our art taught spatial thinking. Our games trained tactical awareness. Our music incorporated quantum harmonics. We didn't just prepare for this war. We became the perfect weapon for it. The display showed the recent battles, where humanity's primitive ships had torn through Void defenses like they didn't exist. The aliens finally understood that what they had dismissed as technological inferiority was actually centuries of careful deception. Earth's gravity taught us patience, Rebecca explained. It showed us that fighting against fundamental forces was futile. We had to learn to dance with them instead. When we saw the Void approaching, we applied that same principle. We didn't try to match their technological path. We developed entirely new ways of thinking about reality itself. The chamber's quantum sensors recorded everything as Rebecca revealed how humanity had transformed their understanding of physics into weapons that defy conventional understanding. Each revelation caused new waves of astonishment among the gathered species. Your world, Professor Zixtal observed, it wasn't a prison holding you back. It was a forge, shaping you into something unprecedented. Rebecca's expression softened. We had a choice, centuries ago. We could have revealed ourselves, joined the galactic community, developed along the same paths as everyone else. Instead, we chose to wait, to prepare, to become what the galaxy needed us to be. The display showed Earth's future plans, technologies being developed to counter threats that hadn't yet emerged, defenses being prepared for wars that might not come for millennia. We are the children of a heavy world, Rebecca concluded. Earth's gravity taught us strength, patience, and the wisdom to see beyond conventional limitations. The Void Collective never stood a chance, not because our weapons were superior, but because we learned to think in ways they could never adapt to. The Coalition Archive Chamber fell silent as the implications sank in. They hadn't just witnessed the emergence of a new species, they had seen the unveiling of a civilization that had spent centuries becoming something entirely new, shaped by the relentless embrace of their heavy world. General Michael Harrison stood before the Coalition Assembly, his dress uniform bearing subtle quantum-enhanced patterns that few species could perceive. The Great Chamber, filled with representatives from 1,000 worlds, waited in tense silence for humanity's declaration of intent. The Void Collective has been driven from known space, he began, his voice carrying easily through the vast hall. Their primary fleet bases are destroyed, their invasion forces scattered, their ability to adapt to our weapons proven impossible. Now comes the more challenging task, building tomorrow. The quantum display behind him showed the current state of the galaxy. Sectors once dominated by Void forces now lay empty, their former masters erased by humanity's impossible weapons. Coalition worlds, many still bearing the scars of occupation, look to Earth with mixed hope and apprehension. Humanity extends its hand in friendship, Michael continued, activating the secured quantum channel that would broadcast his words to every Coalition world. We offer to share defensive technologies, to help rebuild what was lost, to stand together against any threats that may emerge from the darkness between stars. Ambassador Lyra of the Centaur worlds rose, her crystalline form catching the chamber's light. And what guarantees do we have that humanity won't become the very threat you claim to protect us from? Your weapons could destroy any world that opposes you. Michael's response was measured, carrying both reassurance and unmistakable warning. Earth has no interest in conquest or dominion. We spent centuries preparing to be guardians, not conquerors. But understand this, we will maintain our capabilities. The galaxy needs a shield, and humanity has shaped itself to be that shield. The display shifted, showing the technologies Earth was offering to share: gravity shield generators, quantum communication arrays, defensive systems that could protect coalition worlds from conventional attacks. Notably absent were the reality-bending weapons that had erased the void from existence. Some of you fear us, Michael acknowledged, his gaze sweeping the chamber. You look at what our ships did to the void and wonder if we might turn those same weapons on you. But ask yourselves this: if conquest was our goal, why would we have waited? Why spend centuries preparing specifically to counter the void? High Commander Vexthor of the Coalition Defense Force stepped forward. Your ships still patrol our borders. Your gravity weapons could tear our worlds apart. How can we trust a species that hid its true nature for so long? Trust is earned, Michael replied, activating the next phase of the quantum display. Which is why Earth has already begun withdrawing its fleet to predetermined defensive positions. We will maintain rapid response capabilities, but we have no desire to police the galaxy. The assembly watched as real-time feeds showed human ships moving away from Coalition space, taking up positions along strategic corridors. Each vessel remained within range to respond to threats, but none maintained an aggressive posture. The age of hiding is over, Michael declared. Earth stands ready to join the galactic community fully, to share our knowledge of gravity manipulation, quantum physics, and defensive technologies. But we will do so carefully, responsibly, ensuring that what we share cannot be turned into weapons of mass destruction. The display showed the proposed framework for technological exchange, carefully structured programs that would help coalition species develop their own gravity-based defensive systems while preventing the creation of offensive weapons. Humanity shaped itself into a weapon to fight the void, Michael continued, but that was never our final form. We are explorers, innovators, dreamers. We look to the stars and see not battlefields, but frontiers waiting to be discovered. Ambassador Lyra spoke again, her tone softer now. And if another threat emerges, if something worse than the void appears from the dark between galaxies, Michael's expression remained resolute. Then humanity will do what it has always done: adapt, prepare, and stand ready to defend not just Earth, but all civilized species. We are the children of a heavy world, shaped by gravity's embrace into something unique in the galaxy. We accept the responsibility that comes with that uniqueness. The quantum display showed one final image: Earth's solar system, transformed over centuries into humanity's fortress and laboratory, now opening its doors to carefully vetted coalition scientists and diplomats. Tomorrow belongs to all of us, Michael concluded. Earth stands ready to help build that tomorrow, to ensure that the galaxy never again faces extinction at the hands of beings like the void. We offer not just protection, but partnership in creating a future worthy of all our peoples. The Coalition Assembly Chamber fell silent as his words echoed through the vast space. The galaxy's future hung in balance, shaped by humanity's emergence from centuries of preparation into an age of unprecedented possibility.